Hello, ENTV. My name's Dee Twentyman, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Penelope Lazel. I am a proud member of Bump, and I have the privilege of bringing on non-Bump members live into ENTV to showcase their brilliance out in the world. They are truly global lights. So I'd love you to welcome Penelope to the stage. Hi, Penelope.
Hi, Dee.
It's lovely to speak to you again. We've just had a little catch up before we went live, and how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing really well. Sun's shining. It's lovely.
Oh, smashing. Yes, it's beautiful here in the UK for a change. So, Penelope, can you please tell people who you are, where you are, and what is the story behind what brings you doing what you do now in the world to help people?
So, as you've introduced me, I'm Penelope Lazel. I'm the Career Whisperer. I'm located in the Midlands in the UK, so lovely part of the world, countryside all around me, which is nice. And my business came about through my own personal journey. I burnt out more times than you could wave a stick at, but I thought that was normal. You know, worked in a very, very stressful industry. I've been in recruitment for pretty much most of my career. So high pressures, targets, bully, toxic environments, you name it, it was thrown at me. And it all sort of came crashing down. I managed it really well, and I thought I was doing really outwardly. I looked great. Inwardly, I was very anxious. I had daily panic attacks. I sometimes really struggled to even get out the door. My makeup with my persona, you know, I'd put my clothes on, my makeup, and then it'd be push myself out. I'd cry going into sales meetings. I'd come out crying, that little demon on the corner of your shoulder telling you, well, you didn't do very well at that, was a constant companion. And that's how I survived. And I survived what I thought was very well. But back in 2015, my mother became terminally ill, and I added in to my additional workload looking after her, which, you know, we became best friends and very, very close. Fortunately, I lost her on the 21st of December in 2015, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer myself 2 days later. So then I added in, right, I can't let my family suffer. I've just got to get through this my way. And piled on more and more pressure to myself until 2017, when it suddenly came crashing down. I mean, literally everything fell apart. And I was trying, you know, you're just scrabbling around, Dee, trying to hold on to things, trying to work out why everything you've put together in this perfect little world that everybody can see is falling apart. And I couldn't. So I did that journey of self-discovery. I did a lot of internal work myself. And in 2020, my recruitment agency I was managing was a healthcare agency. So as you can imagine, 2020 hit, my branch shrunk by 75% overnight. We had a member of staff seconded to another branch. We were all working from home. My team started burning out. And I'm sitting there, I know how to manage burnout. I know how to manage stress levels. I was a completely different person to where I was back in 2017. And I took the decision that I was not going to let them suffer. As a leader, I didn't want to see them suffer. And I had this very surreal conversation with them where I called an emergency meeting and told them to stop selling. And I told them I wanted them to put themselves first. If they didn't feel like coming in for the day, don't come in for the day. You know, only sell, you know, not sell. Go and call the care homes and offer them support. Be there, understand who they are. I taught them some of the holistic practices I do. And there was this eureka moment in that sort of mad world that was we were going through in COVID, where we suddenly were the highest performing branch. We'd recovered quicker than we could, you know, and I was having to say to my MD, if I don't have all my staff back, I'm resigning. You know, it was that sort of crunch time because we couldn't cope with the workload that was coming in as fast as it was. And it was that moment where I went, oh, wellness actually helps our careers. And that's why I do what I do, is to help people connect with their inner selves so that they can have their career of their dreams and, you know, be able to move forward in their careers with knowing exactly who they are, exactly what they want, and have cleared out any negative energy from previous employers that have treated them appallingly, and just move forward. So that's what I do.
That's brilliant to actually come to that conclusion of people are better when they're healthier within themselves, and not to be putting those external pressures on that the corporate world does to so many women, especially women, because we've got pressures in the background already, and then we've got pressures at work too. So why on earth we put ourselves through that, it's anybody's guess, really.
Exactly. And the career coaching I do see is very, very strange. You know, when my clients come to me, they find it very weird. They were looking for a new job. They're desperate to get out of where they are because that, you know, you've got that manager that is just micromanaging you to an inch of your life. You're depressed. And I say to them, right, stop looking for work. And they're going, but I'm stuck here. And I'm like, no, we need to get you right before you start looking for work. And I call it career healing. So basically I work on you. We do lots of healing work and practices. You fall back in love with yourself. And it's really interesting when I watch my clients, that transformation from going, okay, I'm going to just trust this, to suddenly those opportunities flying in, and they fly in. It's law of attraction stuff 101, isn't it? It's the opportunities fly in the door exactly how they want them, because they're in that headspace. So, you know, they get how they want to work, they get the opportunities. I mean, one of my favorite clients, she's got ADHD, so really struggles in an office environment, and she lives in 2 locations in the US. So for her, she needed real flexibility, but she wanted the salary to be higher than what she was on, and she wanted that acceptance that she's a bit quirky because she's got ADHD, and she got exactly what she wanted, you know, within weeks of, in an American market which was taking about 6 months. So she really trusted that I'm going to be made redundant, I'm going to go with this. 2 weeks after leaving that job and that job closing, she was offered this position, and she didn't even apply for it, headhunted for it, you know. And it's seeing results like that that just light me up. And you know, just know that, yeah, there's stuff in this. This makes sense.
There's so much sense in this law of attraction, and you know, that's why it's been so popular for the past 20 odd years that I've been, you know, really took a deep dive into that kind of thing. And so when you actually are working with people, what's their initial reaction when you say, you've got to stop doing what you've been told to do for the last 15 years at your job, and now you've got to do something different?
Yeah, it can be really discombobulating for them. They really have to put their trust in the work I do. And I do ask a lot of them, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've had tears going, can I really do this? But the way I work is I give them very individual meditations to help soothe some of that anxiety. So I call them my power banks, and it comes from my team, you know, my team of guides that I work with. They will give me a guided meditation that will just soothe my client. So they quite often get these power banks given to them because I'll get a nudge that goes, they need this. And, you know, whether it's going for interviews, whether it's, you know, just getting through that, oh my God, I'm not even applying for anything. What's going to happen in 2 months when that door closes? What am I going to do? It can be really, really challenging. So they have to be able to trust that I'm going to get them out of this situation and into a new, nice, bubbly one.
And when they actually start to see the fruits of what you're doing with them in this completely unique way that they've probably never seen before, what changes do you actually see for them?
If I go back to the lady in the US, because she was my most transformational, so she doesn't mind me talking about her as well. I've had full permission because her life is completely different to how it was when she started working with me. So I met her a couple of years ago. She thought she needed a CV. She got a resume, as they call it over there. She got a resume. She didn't really want me to create one. That's how she approached me. We started talking. She was in tears. She was crying. She'd shut the family off. She didn't want anybody in her world. She was really struggling with that toxic environment. Fast forward 3 months later, when this job opportunity is flying on her lap, and she now lives between these 2 cities. New Orleans is her home. It's where her heart is. And when she's there, she comes alive. She's vibrant. She's bubbly. She's so outgoing. She's reconnected with her family. She's stopped cutting people off. You know, all of these opportunities on her, because she's a part-time DJ as well as the day job. So these opportunities are still coming in her personal life as well as in her business, because wholly she's completely exactly where she needs to be and high vibrational. So opportunities fly in from both angles.
That's phenomenal. And I can imagine that she's just a completely changed person.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You know, to see her smile for the first time was a real breakthrough, you know, and you know, just those moments where she goes, oh, actually, I enjoy this. This is who I am. This is what I want. This is, you know, I don't want to just be an accountant moving forward. I want this, you know. She's still doing accounts, but it's on her terms.
Yeah. So when you want to get people, when people need to find you, where do they find you? How do they find you?
They find me on the Career Whisperer on Facebook. Is the best. I have got a website under my name, but I also do work with corporate companies to help them with their own employees as a mass. So my website's on there, but there is links in there to work with me as well.
Mm-hmm. And for you personally, how does this actually fulfill your mission and vision that you came into this for?
So for me, being able to help people find joy in their lives, that fulfills me, because having seen my journey and the suffering I went under and the way I hid it, I have this passion that nobody should work like that. You know, I think there is a place. There's this argument going on a lot with the Gen Zs at the minute that, you know, they should have their own business because they've got freedom and they can do. Work can give you that. And if employers get on board as well, you can have entrepreneurship, which gives people that. So that's where my passion is, and that's what I enjoy out of it, is helping people to understand that.
Yeah. And you've just touched on something really important when you said that people can get that level of self-fulfillment in a job, and we're not taught that, are we? We're, because of the culture of the 9 to 5 or the 9 to 9 sometimes for people. When we're not actually taught that is available or could be available if top management actually got on board. Do you actually work in that area as well? Do you help those people at the top see the value of working the way that you work?
Do, and I work with industries where they can't have flexibility. So there's a lot of corporations now that are bringing in flexible working. They work from home, do this. But you get into industries like retail and care industries and manufacturing, and they have to have shift work. It is a given, but there is ways round connecting with your employees, even though they come in and they stand on a production line and pack bread for 12 hours and go home. You can still make them feel like they're part of that factory. And so I work with companies to help them, particularly with transient workers, on shift patterns.
And how easy is that to get them to change their perspective? What do you need to do to get them to that level?
I do need a lot of buy-in. I need a lot of buy-in from, you know, it normally comes when I'm working with companies, it comes from the top, and they don't have necessarily bought the buy-ins of all the department heads. So I do a little bit of work with trying to make sure that the department heads, so I do little mini workshops and once they get it and they understand what I'm trying to do, it's not a lot of change is needed. It's just about making those people feel important, you know, particularly in manufacturing, because in manufacturing, we have a lot of foreign workers that just come in, perhaps don't speak a huge amount of English, and they'll just come in and stand there and go home. And there is, you know, they couldn't care less about you, and you possibly don't care less about them because you could replace them tomorrow. So there's a real difference in the workplace. But if we don't correct that now, the Gen Zs are not going to step foot in that environment. They're going to go to the place where they've got flexibility. And so you're going to end up with a generation of factories that just aren't there, because, you know, so So particularly with manufacturing, it's so important to make them feel, yes, you're a shift worker. Yes, you stand here packing bread, but that's important. Why is it important? So once I start to explain that to department heads, that there is a reason for them and you can make them feel part of the company. It is packing bread, but this is the final outcome. This is what you're achieving.
Yes.
It helps them, and then they start to get the buy-in, but it's more of a difficult path.
I can imagine, because I just know from working in an environment like that, not quite a few years ago, and I've worked for myself for like 26 years or something, so it's been a long time. But at the time that I was in that environment, there's some real stalwarts or stalwarts or how you pronounce it, of people with just a fixed idea about what
Proper
business
blinkers.
is like.
Yeah,
Yes,
this is it.
completely.
This is how factoring works. Yeah.
This is what it is. It's like that, conveyor belt mentality kind of thing. So Penelope, it's been an absolute joy and pleasure to reconnect with you. It's just been too long, and I'm so pleased that you are doing so well with the stuff that's happened in between, which I won't go on to on the live, but I'm just really, really pleased that everything's worked out really, really well for you. And I just want to thank you for your time this morning. Can you leave the people who are watching live or on replay a couple of words of wisdom moving forward around life, career, and everything?
You can always change where you're at. So wherever you are, but it's just understanding, where am I now? Where do I want to go?
Brilliant. Great words to leave on. And to any of the audience who are watching live or on replay, if any of this has resonated with you, please connect with Penelope after the live has gone live in the group, and we will put Penny's details in below this video where you can contact her. And please put any comments in as well, because comments and engagement, and she'll be able to come in and help you and answer any of those questions that you've got for her.
Yeah,
so thanks
definitely.
very much. Thanks very much everyone for watching, and we'll just end the live stream. Thank you.